How to drink and smoke and get fucked up on camera and make money. Alright guys, welcome back to the pod. Alright guys, welcome back to the Dropouts. We dropped out of fucking college, so you don't have to. We're gonna ruin our lives. Alright, episode 4 this is. Alright, so today we're gonna do kind of a special, I don't know about a segment, but we want to do a lot of analyzing on, if that's even a word, on other channels and businesses and stuff. And so yeah, some of you might know Nelk. That's going to be our topic of today. So we're going to bring up kind of their YouTube, their brand, all their back end and front end on their entertainment, on their YouTube channel, and their back end on business and how they're successful. And also maybe their future and what moves they might be making in the future too.
Yeah.
So I'm Cameron Wagner. I'm here with my co-host Gray Pham.
Yeah.
And we're going to jump right into it. So basically, how to drink and smoke and get fucked up on camera and make money. This is basically what they've been doing for a while.
Basically, how to be a frat guy and make money.
Yeah, literally.
Basically.
They're pretty smart.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, they don't know, people think they're idiots and stuff, but their boy Kyle's pretty smart with business, I've heard.
Pretty smart.
And they might or might not be making millions of dollars behind the scenes without you guys knowing.
We'll let you know soon.
Yeah, they're very smart. So yeah, basically, basically their YouTube views, I kind of want to just go in and kind of set the parameters, I guess you could say.
I'll let you take care of that.
Yeah, so looking on their Social Blade is a software that looks at YouTube channels, their views per month and their subscribers per month. And obviously, I do YouTube too, so I know these sites are legit because the numbers are pretty accurate. Not on the revenue side, obviously, but on the views per month and on the subscribers per month, it's pretty accurate. So we know these sites can be trusted. So it looks like in the last 30 days, they're pulling 44 million views, which is really good, especially for their upload schedule. And they have 350,000 subscriber gain in the last 30 days too. And believe it or not, the 350K is actually a lot for how many views they're getting. So that's really good too. I've seen channels getting somewhere 3 times as much views as they get, but they still have a lot of subscribers, which means people like their content. Straight away, I just want to get this out of the way. Most people know they complain too about getting demonetized or they're not making money. Steve will do it. Has thrown up a lot of screenshots on his stories and stuff like that. He's a part of the Nelk squad. About getting $130 for a million views, which is obviously even worse than I'm getting, which is crazy. All this stuff's getting demonetized for obvious reasons too, because they're pretty blatant about all their drinking and smoking on camera and pranks and stuff like that. That's not appropriate for YouTube. YouTube's kind of going more towards the TV route, a lot more
really?
goody two shoe, not a lot of drugs and
more,
alcohol.
Yeah, so more Cut, the channel Cut, where they do all the they do they bring in 5 people, guess who the millionaire is or whatever. Is it that kind of stuff that they're targeting towards? Because I thought for a while it was
more just the back end of it. It's not really the type of stuff unless it's stuff like this, but they're going more towards no cussing, everything's censored, you can't do as many stuff, you get demonetized way easier. Yeah, basically. Yeah. We're not gonna make any money.
I thought it was they were targeting children's stuff, children's channels and kid friendly stuff.
Yeah, those got pushed for a while, and then there was this law that got passed that kind of suppressed them, but not really. It's kind of complicated, but basically, yeah, family friendly content. That's I know a lot of TV stations are putting up their highlights on YouTube because obviously it gets way more views than TV nowadays. But yeah, it's interesting how this is all going, and it's for them it's a negative and a good thing, which is interesting because another point I want to bring up real quick is they obviously get shunned in the algorithm. They get videos taken down and put back up sometimes, and they get strikes sometimes. They're not in a good sitting with YouTube necessarily, but their fan base is really where it comes in. They have so much fans, they'll search and get the videos regardless if they get shunned in the algorithm. And they get, they're getting anywhere from 2 to 3 all the way up to sometimes even 10 million views per video. Averaging in the last 4 or 5 months, they get anywhere between about 3 million to 6, 7 million views, which is really good for their subscriber count.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't be surprised in the next 6 months if they start getting that 5 to 10 million mark because of their qualities going up. So that's really interesting to bring up too. And then also, I guess, so they have a thing I want to bring up too is they have a unique niche. So it's basically people aren't getting paid to do what they're doing, so they have like a unique market, whereas a lot of people, especially college, maybe late high school, maybe late 20s, early 30s, are like drawn to this channel because no one's really doing what they're doing, because it's like obviously they can't make money doing it. So yeah, it's just unique, and they're like one of the only ones that I know about doing this, especially on YouTube, obviously. But yeah, it's interesting. So they have grown like in the past like few years like rapidly. They're doing really good numbers. They're getting obviously more money on their back end, so they're hiring. They have a team now. They have like a cook now. They have, I think, a few filmmakers, an edit. Yeah, they just got a cook, I believe.
Damn.
Yeah, and they have like film. Yeah, I know, dude. No. We're gonna get a cook one day, dude. I swear.
Oh, we will. Oh, but, easily. I already have one lined up. We're good.
I already have one lined. But yeah, so like they're doing great for like growth. They're expanding their business. They just bought a house in California. They're originally from Canada. Obviously LA is where all the commotion's at, so it's a smart move by them. They've got some other like what's the guy that they just put on their team, like that prankster, him and his friend, I forget their name, starts with an S. Yeah, Salim. So they him and his friend, I forget his friend's name, my bad. But they both moved onto the team. They have editors, like filmmakers. Jay. Yeah, cousin Jay. Yeah.
Cousin Jay.
That's right. Yeah, exactly. But yeah, so they're expanding the team. They're doing really well at growing as a business. But yeah, so obviously their numbers are there, but how are they really making money? So I wanted to go into that. So they have a brand called Full Send. Obviously, some of you know that. They always say it in their videos, and I believe they have it trademarked now. Or they're trying to, or I'm not really sure.
I wouldn't be surprised. I would not be surprised.
Yeah, they probably do by now, because they're doing such good numbers that I don't think, if someone else had trademarked, they'd be getting away with that very easily. But yeah, so basically every month or bi-monthly, I think it's every month by now. Sometimes they skip a month, I believe, but usually they're trying to do a drop every month. And each one of these drops, I've seen some numbers on various channels and also people talking about in podcasts. They're getting hundreds of thousands of people to click on their drops when they come out. It's actually really amazing. That's like Walmart numbers. Like they're literally pulling crazy numbers on their Shopify store, selling out thousands, and if not tens of thousands of things.
Here's the thing. Want to interject? Here's where it gets interesting. This is why they're so successful, is because they create something which I quote unquote coined the term. I'm not sure if I dare or not. It's called artificial demand. Basically what it is obviously supply and demand. This is a method that I've seen a lot of brands use, where they create demand out of nothing. And this is what these guys did. And the way they did it, and this is where a lot of brands do it, is it's a limited stock of each product. And after the product is sold out, it's never coming back. So you basically, even if you go on the website, you sort of like it, and especially with the amount of traffic volume that they have on the website, even if you sort of like it, back in your head, that if you don't buy it now, you can't get it. So it's it creates a sense of urgency, and that's what creates that artificial demand. And this is something that I actually was looking and trying to do with another business venture that I was trying to start up beginning of this year. And I'll get into that later in the episode. But this artificial demand is what created their success and allows their channel to thrive and their brand to thrive so much. And I'll let you get into the stats, but I just wanted to interject there.
Yeah, they're really doing amazing numbers for their size. Obviously, I mean, getting hundreds of thousands of people on your site when it launches and having, I would assume, at least tens of thousands, if not maybe even 100,000 items. Maybe not that much, but they're pulling out insane numbers. Like, I mean, they're selling out in like minutes, I believe. It's really crazy to do. And now they have all these, and I think their whole brand image is kind of interesting, because they have like these characters that they play. Like Bradley Martin is like the drug guy. Obviously, he does not sell drugs. He sounds like a pretty cool, genuine guy. Obviously, he's not doing anything sketchy, but they have these characters, and obviously Steve will do it. Obviously, he's not. He's probably a really smart guy, but obviously on the channel he comes across as this kind of like gambling, alcoholic, kind of druggy guy. But like obviously he's a really smart guy in person. So he's they have like these characters that they're building through their channel. It's kind of almost like a TV show on their YouTube channel.
They just keep having all these running jokes that keep recurring, and it kind of keeps you interested. You're like, oh, when's a recurring joke going to come through? Yeah. And it also is another way that they give themselves a unique character, Yeah. Like, you don't expect many channels to be having, drug dealers as characters, you know, that unless you're watching Breaking Bad, you know, so that's something unique that they're doing. That's actually really effective too. So
it's interesting. Every time I see Bradley Martin on anything social media, all the comments are just like drug. He stole me drugs or like. So it's like, I mean, it can get old. Personally, I think it's a little old now. They should kind of move on to a new joke. But I mean, it works. I guess it's working. So obviously, it doesn't matter what I think. But yeah, so they're really just doing good numbers. I kind of wanted to show you guys a little example here, with another kind of comedic guy too. If you guys have heard of Trevor Wallace, he's another YouTuber. He does stand-up comedy, and it looks like the reason I wanted to bring this up is because he obviously has 1.24 million subscribers.
How much does
I'm gonna check. They have like 4.64 at this time. We're doing the video.
I thought they'd have more.
Yeah, no, it's because of how much they post. They're getting really good views for each video, but they're such a high quality because they're going for this, like dynamic character kind of.
350K a week, or is it a month?
That's subscribers per 30 days. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
so
per views
month.
for
Okay,
30 month is 44 million. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's interesting. Yeah, they're kind of taking like a TV kind of dynamic character, in-depth character building with their brand, which is really, really smart. It's obviously working for them. Yeah. So Trevor Wallace, it looks like he's getting 11, almost 12 million views per month. So, I mean, that's almost like, let's say 1/4 of the amount they're getting, which is really good though. But the reason why I wanted to bring Trevor Wallace up is he actually launched a shirt and a hat yesterday, and I was debating on actually getting it because it's kind of funny. It says "Sup Little Beach." Like it's like the beach, and it has like a hammock and stuff. It's kind of a cool little design. I really liked it. I like his post right here. But basically I wanted to bring him up because I looked at his comments because I'm always interested in how people react to YouTubers putting out merch, and everyone literally the top comments are I don't have enough money for this now, and like like being broke is a bit like a beach. Like basically like, oh, he's got to recoup his $50,000 he spent on his iced out AirPods.
I saw that video.
It, then realized, and then someone said the one that stood out to me is almost bought it, but then realized it's $40 shipped. So this is obviously like maybe not the majority of people, but these are the top comments. So a lot of people do feel this way. But I want to bring it up. So maybe he's only gonna sell maybe like 50, a couple hundred, like products. Whereas Nelk, when they released their prices, like, so a shirt, let's say, was it a hat or a shirt? He said on the comments here. I'm just gonna say I think it was a hat.
It was one or the other. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, it doesn't matter too much. But basically, I went on the Nelk site and I looked at their sweatshirts are $75, $120, which is crazy for a hoodie. And they literally sold out of every single item on their store, I believe, at least for the clothing portion of it. So obviously, it doesn't really matter about the price as much, but they have this like past with building the site and all this analytics that go into that. So that's when they released it, everything sells out. Sorry, it doesn't really matter about the price. Whereas other YouTubers that are trying to drop merch, people complain all the time about prices and stuff. So it's interesting. Like they sell T-shirts, sweatshirts, and everything pretty much a little bit marked up from normal.
And I think part of the reason that they can get away with doing that and marking it up so much is because of that sense of urgency that I brought up earlier. They can price their stuff so high because they know people are gonna buy because there's only so many, and they've got to create such almost like a cult following. Exactly, of the Full Send brand, that it's like they know that people, like, there are probably like tens of thousands of people on a specific product waiting for it to drop, and then they're clicking at the same time, and only maybe 5% of those people get the actual product. Like, you rarely see that. See that.
It's very they're probably the best at this, to be honest.
They could price their hoodies at $200 and they'd still sell out. Yeah. Which is fantastic by them. Props to them. Yeah, that's amazing.
Because by the time you write a comment complaining about it, it's already sold out, right? Like it doesn't matter what you think, right? People are gonna buy it. Whereas Trevor Wallace, I didn't really research too much about his site. It says I'm gonna click it real quick. I'm not sure if it's kind of like some third-party site or if he found some kind of warehouse for it. But it looks like, I mean, his it says a trucker hat is $28.99 and Nelk's is $35, and obviously no one's complaining about their prices. And obviously with shipping, I'm not really sure if Nelk does free shipping or not, but obviously it's more expensive by a decent amount. So it's not really the price that matters. It's about building a brand and taking time to develop, urgency for or limit drops for it. And once you do this for like half a year, I mean, like, it doesn't matter what they release, it's just gonna sell out like instantly, pretty much. It's pretty cool.
And the other thing is, you also have to remember that Nelk has had their full send brand out for a while.
Yeah.
So I wasn't following them up until maybe 6 months ago, so I don't know how big their brand was in the beginning. Like, they may have been the exact same place as Trevor, where people were complaining about the prices, and it just took time before they were able to price it where it is now and not have people complaining,
Yeah, it just takes time. Yeah, you're always gonna get hate when you're trying to, obviously Trevor Wallace, I think he does a lot of sketches, so he has that under 10-minute mark, so it's hard to make as much money as he could. He has a podcast now, which is a smart move. But yeah, it's like when you're trying to sell, make extra money, and give your fans some cool items, it's hard to do that at first. But then once you get to the point where everyone wants to buy your stuff right when it releases, that's when you're really in a good spot. Which I think they've done really, really well.
Yeah.
And I think it's smart too, because I was watching one of their podcasts, and one of their cousin Jay, and what's the other guy? I keep forgetting.
Celine?
I'm terrible with Celine. Sorry.
We literally had an entire talk about him last
I know.
episode.
We literally made a funny video about someone that looks like him. Anyway, you guys will see that soon. Actually, maybe next episode or one after that.
We already shot it, dude.
Yeah, but we still have to edit it. By the time this comes out, it might be before that. But anyway, I wanted to bring up so they're bringing on these extra pranksters, which it's not a necessity for them, but it's a good move because they have more. They have a bigger budget, and so their time is more valuable than money right now. So they're bringing on extra pranksters to get extra content that provide value for their team long term. And now they're at the point where I was watching one of their podcasts, and I think it was Bradley's podcast with them on it, and he was saying when we started out we couldn't afford to pay people, we could barely afford really anything. So now they're at the point where they can afford to give people rooms in their house, to pay them. So that's when you have those resources, people that are more valuable want to come on your team. So that's why eventually they're just going to build a bigger brand with all their cool team.
And another benefit to bringing in those people is you also bring in a bigger audience, because some of the people that follow, Salim and Cousin Jay may have not seen Nelk or heard of Nelk. I don't know how, but they might not have. So
yeah,
it was seeing pictures of Salim and them with the Nelk boys, and then it brings traffic over to the Nelk's page, and then it's a trickle effect. They start coming over to Nelk and seeing all the funny stuff, and they like it. They subscribe. More people come to the site, and it's just a whole domino effect of people trickling in. Which is also another reason why it's smart to bring in those people. I think, I don't know if they're permanent or if they're only gonna be here for a little bit, but obviously Steve is gonna be one of the main guys. MTV Jesse, Kyle's the backbone of it, so those guys will always be there. But you have these other almost freelance pranksters that come in. Who knows how long they'll be here? And they're helping grow the brand.
Yeah, I think because of their specific way they're building kind of the characters and stuff, I don't think they're going to necessarily be shifting through people that much. I think they're going to try to keep valuable people on the team as far as the actual people in the videos, but you never know. I want to bring up too, I think let's talk about Steve Will Do It coming on their team too, because I think that was or maybe one of their best business moves they could have possibly done. Yeah, so if you guys didn't catch their podcast with Bradley Martin, it's Bradley Martin's podcast, with Nelk. And Steve Will Do It was on there too. Yeah, Culture Cast. And I ended up watching some of those episodes, and they were really cool. And it seemed I think Nelk brought on Steve Will Do It when they were about 1.3 million subscribers, I think, around there. That's when they actually reached out to Steve, and then he started kind of coming on their team. And I think that was a really smart move by Kyle or Jesse, whoever thought of I think it was Kyle, but I think it was a really good move because they're diversifying their kind of brand, right? They're finding these valuable people that have such crazy skills. This kid slams alcohol and smokes. Literally, if I didn't know he was around, I would have thought you would die instantly if you did that. Like, probably most people would die or black out or alcohol poisoning or something like that. Yeah, like
he should have died 7
times.
The
healthiest man alive, if you know what I mean.
Mm-hmm.
But so he was an interesting dynamic, and I remember when he came on the show, and I was like, I didn't really think. I was just curious, like, why would they bring him on? Like, it's such kind of like a random move. But then after a while, I was like, okay, wow, he brings to the table something really important, right? Like, he has his own YouTube channel, like. He has his own character dynamic that's really unique and important to grow when building his brand. And he does stuff that literally I've never seen anyone, even on the internet, be able to do. So he's obviously taking it more easy now, but he put in the work and did all this crazy stuff so that he could be on this team and grow their brand with them too. So that was pretty interesting. I think that was a really good move by them.
And he's almost like a staple figure of like the full send brand, like the full send like motto, because he literally will full send it, and I think that's another thing that like builds what full send is about, which I think is pretty cool.
Yeah, I think they did a great job with that.
He adds to the group. I think that's the biggest thing, and he helps structure it.
100% adds to the group. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think they're probably one of their most challenging parts in finding team members is like, sure, there's lots of cool people and lots of pranksters out there, but you want someone that's gonna provide value to your team long term, and I think Steve was probably by far the best person they could have chose. He I wanted to talk about a little bit about how Steve, like, he has individual items that is sold on their store, right? So when Nelk launches, these drops, like Steve will do, I think he has a few T-shirts if I remember right, and then he also has a boot, like a drinking boot, like you fill up the plastic.
Oh, really?
It's like glass blue.
Oh, that's funny.
With like alcohol, it's like I think like a cowboy boot, and I think it was because I remember he took off this like guy's leg and like drank out of it. That might be why it's from. I don't really know where it's from, but
I could see him doing that.
Yeah, on his intro, his intro where it's like Steve, and he's chugging out of that like guy's leg.
I haven't seen his channel actually. I have not watched his channel.
Okay. I watch all of his stuff. He's pretty funny, but he's crazy, dude. The amount of like drugs and alcohol that like I can't even comprehend, But yeah, so what they did was, instead of kind of having him on the team, like he has his own little like place in the store too. So it's like they're hitting all these points in character development with the brand. And Steve, like, he has his own boot. I think he has his own a few clothing things on the store too, if I'm not mistaken. So like, if you're a fan of Steve, you're a fan of Nelk and vice versa. And then Steve, I would believe, makes I don't know about 100% commission, but he definitely makes money off those drops because he's not making anything off of YouTube. So I would assume he's either getting paid by Nelk on a salary, or he's getting all of that revenue or some of that revenue from those items that he is contributing because of his videos onto their store. So I think that was a really cool thing. So like, maybe Salim, I think it is, or like the other guy too, they might down the line have their own merch that's going to add to the store too, and then they're going to make commission off of it maybe in a few months. We never know.
Yeah.
So that's a very interesting, very smart move by Kyle too.
Yeah.
I'm just going to say it was Kyle because I've heard he's more of the business guy, so I'm just going to say Kyle. I really don't know if it's him doing everything, but I'm assuming he's more of the business guy on the team.
I've heard that he does majority of like the business end stuff and deals with all like the run the website, your marketing and all that stuff. So
yeah, that's what I've heard too. Next up, I guess we could talk about kind of their future of their brand. Wait, did we talk about their revenue numbers? I guess that's pretty important. But they're
roughly touched on it, but
yeah, but they're from podcasts and like videos I've seen. I think I heard it on maybe Mike Malak's channel.
That's
if you guys
are
familiar with him, I think they're pulling off at least like a couple million, maybe 3, 4, 5, maybe even more.
I know
now,
for sure they make millions on each drop. I know they make millions per drop. I don't know exactly what the numbers are because obviously that's not something they're gonna disclose to the public.
Yeah, but, obviously they're making millions because they have people on salaries. They're getting paid if they're kind of contract work for the editors or whatever. They bought a house. They have a decent amount of expenses, so that they can't not be making a lot of money. And obviously, safely we could say they make a couple million per drop, and that's a very good. And then obviously you have to their profit margins are probably pretty good too because again, The markup is a pretty good amount.
Yeah.
It's nothing insane like hype beast, like $1,000 T-shirts, but it's
Oh God, no.
they definitely have a nice little percentage for profit margin, which is what you want to do long term.
They could do those prices if they wanted, though.
Like they could for a few different things. You're absolutely right. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know if the majority of people would be interested, but maybe like a couple hundred would be interested. Maybe like a $400 a limited hoodie and stuff like that.
All right, so one other thing I want to add onto their brand, onto the Full Send brand. So, with the whole, their business model, limited supply, high demand, it's such a powerful tool, and I really wanted to see, how if I could do something like that without a huge following. I wanted to see if I could do a clothing brand of some sort with that. So for about 4 months, I had been working on this bikini brand. It was supposed to be gray swimwear, because why not? And I was like balls deep into this thing. I had producers. I had literally placed an order for samples. Like, it was going so hard, and I really had to think about, okay, how am I going to market this? How am I going to make this different? Because it's such a oversaturated market. If I was going to try and make this work, which I still want to do, but I just don't, it's not a priority right now. How am I going to make it so people want to buy it? And this is where the whole artificial demand thing goes. I was going to make limited quantity, high demand, and it was supposed to be, you can only get these now for a limited time, and there's only X amount. So if you don't buy it, you can't get it. It's the same thing as Nelk. There's another brand. If you look it up, it's Ecstasy, ECSTASE.com. They do these large scale prints. They're like graphic designed art pieces from like freelance designers, and they're really cool, bright colors, cool designs, and they'll sell limited editions, and once they're sold, you can't get them again. Same thing as Nelk, same thing as I was doing. Here's the difference, and I don't know if Nelk does. I haven't checked out their store, but they, on their website, they'll have the art piece, and it will literally say 15 out of 50 left, and depending on how much is left, they'll change the color of it. So if it's 25 out of 50, it's green. If there's 15 out of 50, it's yellow. If there's 10 out of 50, it's orange, and if it's 5 out of 50, it's like red. Like, you have to buy it, and that color creates a sense of urgency. So I was gonna do something similar to that with my brand. It's smart because the idea of the color triggers an emotion inside, because red is usually bad, green is good, and everything in between. Same thing with the stoplight, So it creates this kind of like, I don't want to say hierarchy, but this like different levels of demand determined by whatever color it is. And so I wanted to test out and see if I could do something like that with the bikinis. So I went through all the phases. I literally was getting, another phase of my business, my film business, is I work with a lot of models for photography, It's nothing too serious. I've done a couple fashion shoots and stuff, but I refer to a bunch of my models who actually do this stuff, and they have a better sense of fashion than I do in style. Like what designs work, what's trending, what's most popular, what might be trending, and I would go in and hand design these designs. I did a floral pattern. I did this I don't even know what pattern, because I'm not a girl, but I still did it. And I mean, they all loved it and stuff, and so I got a producer. I actually had to go through several producers, but I got a producer. We were literally so close to making the deal done. And as much as I want to do, I'm glad I didn't, because I would be struggling financially right now if we did.
Yeah.
But
this is not the right time to launch anything.
This is not the right time to launch a bikini business, especially with my 4,200
you can't even go to the beach now.
Followers, whatever. Hell no. So, I literally placed the order for samples, but I mean, I recently talked to him and met up with him. He's like, yeah, I was just way too busy. We couldn't get done. I'm like, it's okay, me too. I've been slammed. And so I really wanted to do several businesses this year. I might, but right now I gotta focus on the film business, because that's what's keeping the bills coming. That's what's paying all the bills. But it was a really cool experience to try and build something. And I mean, this was getting serious. Like, I was referring to all sorts of people, doing my research. I was literally spending hours designing this stuff. And so, it was a really cool experience to go through that. And I hope I can do it one day, especially if if this takes off, if we can get a little bit more of a following, that would, or I'd like to chase it again sometime. So,
yeah, I think
it was a cool experience.
Yeah, I think it's important to, yeah, it's hard to create like you were saying, kind of this artificial demand for products unless you have some kind of fan base or following or some kind of, obviously that mentality of the colors is really smart. I've never really seen that actually ever, so that's cool that you brought that up. But yeah, I don't think they have it on their store. My internet's being really weird. I have terrible internet. But
yeah,
I can't really pull up their store right now. But basically, yeah, it's like they have. I don't believe they use the color system or any kind of number count or anything like that. That's a more of a. I've seen those super new Shopify people put all these fucking counters and numbers and countdowns and like alerts on their store, like you have to buy it now. It's gonna sell in 5 minutes. Like that did work maybe a few years ago, but nowadays they're obviously that's not legit and just kind of putting up pressure on them. But
you can throw an image up on the screen, but here, one sec. This is what it looked like. So at the bottom, it says only 10 left, and it's in bright red font.
Gotcha. Huh.
And it's out of 100, and so then it's like, oh shoot, that's cool. I gotta buy it.
Yeah, that's a cool idea. I've never even seen that.
It is. There's a whole psychological thing behind it.
Yeah. For my business too, like I guess obviously my majority of my money eventually is not going to be coming from AdSense. Right now it is because of my obviously I'm getting an inventory. I'm thinking about what kind of business stuff I want to launch because it's obviously a really weird time because of the quarantine. I don't know if it's the right move to launch now or later or what type of launch or anything like that. But what I've kind of done too is they have a crazy cult fan base, right? That is like one of the most valuable assets you could have for any kind of business. So, same for, Gucci or Supreme and all that stuff. They have like this
Louis Vuitton,
YSL, all that cool
those
stuff. Yeah, a lot. They have like this demand for it. But
I'm waiting for the day that you start seeing Nelk stuff in like the hypey stores, StockX. People are literally reselling them for twice the value, especially if Nelk decides to sell some things that are even more limited, like only 10.
Yeah, they should do that. I think they absolutely will go that route eventually.
I hope they do, because if they can become the next Supreme, I think that's huge for them. I think that'd be so cool.
Yeah, they're absolutely.
And I hope that we can become, we can have some sort of brand like Nelk, like if we once our following, if it ever does, gets up to the similar numbers where we can sell merch and they sell out like crazy.
Yeah. And
we can start making some, hypebeast like brands.
Yeah.
We can really get some cool stuff going.
Yeah, I think it's a cool like little because it's we have like it's about the brand, but it's about the like message and stuff with their brand. It's like full send, right?
Yeah.
It's like going not half-assing anything, going full out. And
being
obviously
a frat guy.
It's like obviously theirs has a connotation with like full sending alcohol and drugs, but like it has a deeper meaning too with like like trying hard and even like anything in life, business, school, like like full sending everything is the best way to do it. And obviously that's like a little bit of a sugar coated version. It's obviously has to do with alcohol and drugs, but ours is like dropouts, right? Like we obviously took a huge step in life to drop out of college, which is really risky sometimes.
Okay, whoa.
But that's how our
step. I don't know if we're gonna call it a step forward. Okay.
It was
we'll see about that.
It was a leap.
It was a leap of faith.
Yeah,
it was actually.
It was somewhat calculated though. I wouldn't have done it unless I knew I was gonna succeed otherwise. But
yeah.
But it's interesting. But it's definitely a risky nonetheless. But it's like that represents our brand. Like we took this whole step to it's a risk reward, right? Like we risk missing out on maybe a degree, but then I have extra. We're going for this business route, and if we make it or not make it, that's what we risk. It's like our whole lifestyle. So it's about kind of finding this like this like kind of like meaning behind your brand is really important. So I think it's.
And I hope that we can also some sort of almost create a cult following like Nelk, where we have all these kids who are very creative, business oriented minded, and are scared to take that step. Not obviously, we don't want people who are not prepared to take this step. We don't want to push you, but we don't want you holding yourself back if you have the potential to do it, you know?
Exactly, yeah.
And we've preached this before. If you have the plan and you have the experience and it's proven and tested that's successful, take the leap, you know?
Yeah.
And we want to portray that, you know, that mentality through our message and our brand, you know?
Yeah. It's, yeah.
So.
Yeah, we definitely want to, like, it's about risk, you know, risk, right? Like, I mean, obviously, to do anything great in life, to have any form of great success, we have to, you know, risk a lot, right? So, I mean, the risk is all, it could be all about risk, too. Same with them, right? Like, they obviously didn't, I don't think they graduated college. I could be very wrong on that.
I don't know
I'm
their
not
backstory
sure,
very much.
But, I mean, in theory, if they didn't or did drop out of college, or I'm not really sure if they did, to be honest, but, you know, this is a big risk, and obviously it paid out. Paid off. They're really doing well.
They're doing very well.
Yeah. So yeah, I was gonna talk about a little bit about my brand, because obviously, I you know, I want to do business stuff, and for me, creating the demand is like the, you know, the guns and stuff, the giveaways, and like, you know, giving people giving people actual value for, you know, their products. To, like, they're actually getting, you know, they get to support me. They're getting a cool design that, you know, is like the best quality, and also they're getting a ticket into winning a really cool built gun too. So it's like a win-win-win basically.
Real quick, can I interject? What's the progress with your patches? Because I know you ordered them, but
I should be getting them
held up
this week sometime, hopefully.
Oh, so they're coming. They're coming this week.
Yeah, the inventory. Yeah, it's been done for a little bit. My guy shipped them out Friday, I believe. So they should. They should be coming in this week, but I could be wrong. I'm not sure how the shipping is, but it's all weird because of the quarantine too.
Italy or China or?
I'm not sure if the guy, not Italy, they were produced in.
Your designer was in Italy.
Yeah, the designer was in.
Okay, your designer was in Italy.
Yeah, he's based in Italy. I get the designs from Italy because he honestly just does a great job. It doesn't really have to do with him, you know, being from Italy. Just, you know, but he does a great job, and he works with a lot of cool brands. And his prices aren't too bad. And he just kind of has the vision of it as an artist, so that's why I go with him. And obviously, the producing, obviously, I went with a U.S. person last time. They charged a lot, and I went with a different, but I'm kind of finding out that everyone kind of uses, you know, people in China, and it doesn't really matter about the quality. It's literally just machines doing it. It's not like...
And it's just cheaper. It's just cheaper. Yeah, financially, it's just better.
Yeah, it's not like people are, you know, hand stitching the patches in the U.S. Like, if the patch is made in the U.S., you know, the guys maybe getting them from China and, like, you know, or the supplies from China and, like, making it in his machine. It's basically just you buy a $20,000 machine and it makes the patches. I think that's how it works.
Everything's going to come from China anyways. Might as well just get the product from China in the beginning and save a little money, you know?
And I'm supporting my... I met this guy. I could go into a whole different episode about that, but I met... You know, meeting people in the industry is really important. This guy has a lot of connections in different places, so that was really important to meet him and talk to him. But, and it's funny how I actually started talking to him. I was trying to, like, you know... I think I talked to you about this. I was trying to actually acquire some of his company. It was this whole thing, but that was a whole different thing.
We have to tell that story. I
thought that was a really interesting thing, but then
I so wish you acquired his company, or at least half it.
Yeah, I ended up. I think it's actually a better move what I did now because of. I think it's a better move for my business not doing that. It's all this complicated stuff, and I found out all this back end stuff that I wasn't aware of that made me not want to acquire part of it and stuff.
What for your business specifically? I think because you're growing at such a rapid rate, I feel like it's best not to get tied down to anything. No sponsor brand deals, no big company buyouts. Like, really stay true to yourself and your image so that you can grow a little faster.
Yeah, you're right.
And then once you get up into the bigger ranks, you know, 200, 300, 500, million, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Then you can start working with actual brand deals that actually do custom stuff for you, not just like throw up our logo at the end and give us a quick shout out, actually be like, go check out my customized gun in partnership with whatever armory,
Yeah,
I almost think that's the best move.
Yeah, that's literally why I stopped. Because I was on a contract, right, and then they wanted to update the contract, and I didn't want to go that route, and I wanted to start my own store and stuff, and obviously this quarantine stuff kind of messed with all that, but my thought was like I wanted to be solely my brand, and obviously that might kind of stop a little bit of monetary gain maybe in the next few years, but in the long term, I think making my own brand and just pushing my own brand is a lot better. And I'd rather do that. Just the only sponsorships on my website and on my brand are just my my products I'm selling or my store or whatever.
Ultimately, that would be it, and that's what you should do.
Yeah, that's what Nelk's doing, and they're doing great. Yeah.
Yeah, if you can, especially once you have a full-fledged store that's running, it's constantly getting new products, and you have designers working for you and people creating new products and stuff for you, and like shirts and merch and patches and vests and all that stuff, then that's going to be your main source of income, to the point where sacrificing a little bit of growth for this sponsored deal isn't going to be worth it, because you're going to make more growing and then selling out your merch, Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, I mean that's what Nelk does. They don't have any sponsorships. I mean, I think Steve has done some with like a gambling site, but that's like, in my opinion, that's a bad move. He's obviously getting paid maybe tens of thousands, if not maybe even $100,000 for that. Probably most close to 20 to 50,000, because there was all this like data that came out about other gambling people paying them a lot. It was this whole thing for CS:GO, if you remember that. But he pushed that, and I mean, obviously that was a good or bad move. I'm not really sure if he's affiliated with the site. I just don't know. But for the Nelk brand in general, I think Kyle has decided not to do any sponsorships, which is a good idea, and just the only sponsorships is from their own company. And I think that's what Logan does, if I'm not mistaken, too. He just pushes his own brand. He doesn't get too many sponsorships.
He does a few, especially the podcast.
Yeah, the podcast gets some, but they're like Viagra and shit like that. It's not like a.
And actually, I can't remember if it's. I think it might only be the podcast that they do sponsors. I don't think that he does any in his vlogs.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure you're right. I think it's just on their podcast, and that it's podcasts are. He has such a big podcast that it's like. I mean, he's only gonna be sponsoring for 10 to 20 seconds, and he gets tens of thousands of dollars. So why not, right? And it's not like
And it's one of those deals where you're already listening to them talk. You're not looking for anything super visual.
Yeah.
That it's like 10 to 20 seconds. It just kind of merges together and and like
and they're
it
funny
works
about
because
it
when you think, and I think that's the key with like sponsors is like if you can find a creative way to give the sponsor a shout out, that's like the best. And I think no one has done it better than TMG's Broke Bitch.
Yeah, they did a great job.
Because at the end they crash the car, and then the C walks out, and then like they have an entire bit for like a minute and a half.
Yeah.
And it's just the most genius thing ever. I'm like, you gotta be kidding me.
Yeah, I love that so much. I watched. Funny you say that, because I actually watched a video last night about this. It was like a filmmaker reacting to their video, and I didn't catch a lot of the transitions they did. I'm surprised, because I do kind of video stuff. But man, they did a really good job with that video, and I think Noel was actually directing it. They had a whole bunch of different locations, which is really expensive, and the colors were really good and stuff like that. And yeah, they did a great job with that video. I'm really proud of them.
Did you notice that every time he puts the room in the mop in the bucket, it makes a like a little droplet noise instead of actual
all sound effects, all that, and the transitions, like all that stuff is really good. And the rap was really good, the beat was really good, the lyrics were really good. Yeah, they had some bars.
I like, compared to the which one was it? It was the Short Kings anthem with Black Bear. I like Cody's the way he raps and sings better in Broke Bitch than Short King Anthem, because I think he was just starting to figure out his singing capabilities and his rapping capabilities, so he used way too much autotune. And he even tweeted, he's like, I used a lot of autotune, I don't give a fuck, or something like that. Yeah,
Broke Bitch was by far their best work, 100%.
It was so good. Like, that's something that like I expect out of like a name brand like record deal or something like that. So that was cool to see. So
yeah, I think they really have something going on there. We could do a whole episode on that too. That's a whole different people making music.
I would like to do one on the music industry in general, just because I find it very fascinating, and we can get into copyrights, we can get into record deals, we can get the whole thing with Lil Uzi, and why it took him forever to drop Eternal a take.
Yeah, there's so much
whatever it is.
What's it called?
Political
stuff in the music. That's the good word.
Yeah. I want to get into that eventually.
Yeah, 100%.
But the one guy who I will say has the insane editing, but you don't realize it till you pay attention, is A$AP Rocky. if you go and watch a bunch of his videos, the editing is insane.
Really?
But you just don't realize it. Like, you'll watch a normal scene, and it just looks like they're chilling in like a penthouse apartment, and then you watch it again, and you realize that they made all the buildings in the back wobble.
Oh,
and
wow.
you're like, what the hell? Because you don't notice it until after. You think it's just a normal scene.
Yeah, that's
and then
crazy.
the amount of, and that's the thing with music videos, the amount of little snippets and little things they do here and there to make the full product is insane.
Yeah, it's only like they're only like what 3 to 5 minutes on average, and the amount of shit that they put in. That's not obviously bad shit.
I personally edited a music video. It's a pain in the ass.
Yeah, it's crazy, and even
would not recommend.
Have you? What's that one guy? He's a young guy. His name it's like Lemonhead or Lemon Drop or
no Lyrical Lemonade.
Yeah, my bad. I super butchered that. I apologize. But
I forget the
he has
dude's
really cool
name.
videos too. I watched
He's
the whole
very,
thing.
very good.
Yeah, I watched a whole business podcast with him. Maybe I think I was maybe a year back, but I remember he has a cool story too. Yeah, Lyrical Lemonade.
I think it was like a complex video or something. I watched something about his entire like upbringing or whatever it was, and his story is actually really cool. I forget what podcast was.
It was a business one. I think I sent it to you. Maybe I could be wrong. What was it? It was guy something. Ah man.
Was it built to stay?
I don't remember honestly.
It was Built to Stay with Guy Raz.
Oh, Guy Raz, that's what it is. Yeah.
I listened to that one. Yeah, it was a good podcast.
No, I really liked that one.
It was a good podcast.
I'm looking
much
at his,
more professional than ours was.
Oh yeah, dude, I was looking at his his channel, the Lyrical Lemonade. Yeah, some of these videos are with little Mosey and obviously Eminem and stuff. They're getting.
He just did one with Eminem. That was I think his biggest. And
138 million views in 1 month.
So the thing that he did with his brand that made it so what he did with his brand, which made it insane, is that he makes it so that all music videos get posted on his channel.
Yeah, he has a very interesting way to do that.
Yeah, and so he said that he literally turned down, I think it was a deal with Migos or something, because they wouldn't let him post it on his channel. I'm like, that's insane.
Yeah.
That's a power move right there.
Yeah, dude, look at all these names, dude. Like, literally so many fucking big names, dude. Like, YG, NLE Choppa, dude, like, Ski Mask, Juice WRLD, like, 180 million views, like... I mean, some of his, like,
Juice WRLD's a big one of his recipes.
Yeah, I mean, some of them get, like, 1 million views kind of randomly, and some get, some of them get a lot, like 50 to 150 million views, which is crazy, man. But yeah, I think I've only seen a couple of his videos, but the ones I did watch, and I think the reason why he did really well in the beginning was they're very well edited. He has all these After Effects, especially. I don't really do too many After Effects, but you're more familiar with that too.
I've dove in pretty deep with After Effects, and yeah. He's just very, very skilled with that.
Yeah, so good shit, man. He's really doing good, and he's working with a lot of really cool people. So, yeah, just one last thing I wanted to cover, too, about Nelk is kind of their future, too. So they have so much potential. They have so much things going on. They're building a team. They bought property in L.A. They have all these character development things going on. All these, Bradley Martin's. He has resources with the fitness industry. Steve will do it with his talent. And obviously the brains behind Nelk with Jesse and Kyle. But they have a lot of potential. So they're kind of touching on their future a little bit on the Culture Cast with Bradley Martin, and I think they mentioned they had some I don't know if maybe emo conversations or talks with like TV shows, right? Because weren't they gonna do like a TV show or something? Yeah, they're such characters. I think they're thinking about doing a TV show route maybe, but I think Kyle was maybe the one that spoke on this. I kind of forgot who talked about it, but I remember they were saying basically that the problem with TV shows and Hollywood and any kind of film industry that's not from YouTube, it's like produced. It's a very political industry. It has so much rules. There's a lot of stuff you can't do, and a lot of times I think what happens with these creators is they'll have, and I think there's been a lot of YouTubers that have created their own kind of maybe Netflix shows or not a lot, but there's been a few that have went on to maybe
a lot of YouTube shows too.
Yeah, like maybe YouTube shows or even Netflix shows. I'm not too familiar with too many of those, but there's probably some. And then obviously, like YouTube Red was a thing for a while, and obviously the what's it called, people kind of going off and making basically their own kind of shows, if that makes any sense. But basically the problem with shows is like, say if maybe a company would come in and try to acquire Nelk for, all right, I'll pay you guys a salary each, $1 million a year to shoot this TV show, or pay them a couple million to produce for like 12 to 24 months this TV show, or like a season of it. I'm not really sure how the analytics work, but basically the problem with that is like, a lot of times these companies, or maybe people will come in and they'll try to change the culture of the dynamic of the team, or they'll try to enforce certain rules, or they'll change their the characters in kind of like these cheesy ways that people aren't really familiar with, their fans. Like I've seen people kind of like kind of change their like basically their whole personality on TV versus YouTube, which is kind of a toxic trait for your fans, right? Like people don't want to see you kind of go into a different character. They want to see you for what they were watching before. So that's a big problem with that too. So that's why they've obviously stuck in with the YouTube for now, and they're killing it. So I don't see why they should move on unless they're going to produce it themselves, which I think would ultimately be what they're going to do. Maybe a few years down the line is produce their own TV show. One thing I'm kind of surprised they didn't do is there was this whole movement maybe a year and a half back where people were kind of going onto their own websites. It's called syndication. And
I know that Vitali did that, like Vitali Uncensored or wherever.
Yeah, he did his. I know a lot of automotive channels did that. Like I think DDE did that. Salamandra did that. I think there's a few others too.
Oh yeah, Salamandra did. Yeah.
He was kind of the one. I think he built a company that made these websites for people, if I'm not mistaken. That's where I kind of got put onto it. Yeah, then he started the whole like you should do Facebook because Facebook pays you more than YouTube, because they're trying to compete kind of with YouTube. It's really not really too much of a competition, but they are trying. And they're such a big company that it could be possible, but it's really hard with all the AI that YouTube has with all the data and stuff. But yeah, I was surprised why Nelk didn't make their own site. Like people would pay maybe $2 to $5, maybe even more, like $10 a month to watch their videos. And it looks like I'm on their website right now. They do have videos that aren't on YouTube on their site, but they are free. I think this is a smart move right now because they are making so much off their brand drops, and to make them pay more is kind of a risky move in their position. Yeah. But a lot of people kind of they're charging $2.50 per month for these memberships for their websites. And so they could watch exclusive content, or even before anyone else. A lot of times they're releasing a video a week before on YouTube too. So and it's like their own little network, and that's important because if YouTube dies tomorrow, they'll have their own site, Syndication 101. But I was surprised they didn't do it, and obviously they can get away with a lot more shit on their own site, and they don't have to worry about.
Well, I know that. Well, they kind of technically did. But not to full extent. So on their website, they had
they do have videos. I'm seeing it right now.
They had like a tab for like videos that like YouTube wouldn't allow, like the deleted scenes or whatever.
Yeah, I'm on that right now.
I haven't watched it. I don't really have a desire to be honest. But
I'll try to watch some of these. I haven't seen too many.
Bro,
but...
you know what I got like hell into in the past like 24 hours?
What?
I got back into Joe Rogan.
Oh yeah, I've only really seen a few of his episodes, and he's like the best, I hear.
Just because he's so wise and he knows so much, but he has the most interesting people on.
I saw Elon Musk one. That's when I watched.
That one was good. The Dan Bilzerian one was good.
I should watch
the one I'm watching right now is what is his name?
Is it a business guy or
something? I think Gallagher. No, he's like a biologist. But basically, what he does for a living, it's Forrest Galante or something like that. Basically, what he does for a living is he gets hired by universities and research funds to go explore and search for cryptids or extinct animals that people believe are still existing. So he'll go to like the Congo and the Amazon and like Australia and go search for all these animals that are thought to be extinct. Like he was searching for
Did he find any of them?
Yeah.
Oh really?
Yeah, dude. Yeah, there's 2 podcasts and they're like interesting too, and like he's found like, I think the last one I checked it, I didn't finish this one, but he found a tortoise in the Galapagos Islands that was supposed to be extinct.
Wow. Okay.
And it was some like big deal when he found it and stuff, and like all these like news articles, like Forbes and stuff, posted about it, and all this crazy shit. And I was like, Jesus Christ, it's an animal. Oh wow.
Yeah, I'm watching.
But he was like,
sorry, I want to make a point super quick about the Joe Rogan. His numbers are fucking insane. All right, that's all I want to say. Yeah. That's all I want.
And he's got a really popular, really good clips channel too. That's the we need to hop on. Is he's got some really interesting clips. I got a little sidetracked, but I'm excited for their podcast. I think that's the biggest thing I'm excited because they'll continue to make good videos and cool merch and stuff. Going up, man. But I'm really excited for them to start a podcast. And the other thing I'm excited for, and then no one's talked about this, but it just seems to be happening. I want them to write a book. Because a lot of people are writing a book. Mike Majlak's writing a book. Dan Bilzerian's writing a book. I want to see either Jesse or Kyle or the whole Nelk team write a book.
Yeah, I think down the road that'd be a great idea.
It would be definitely like maybe in like 5-10 years, but I want to see it happen because I want to know like all the depth of their story, you know.
Yeah, I think that's like, a great move.
When Dan's book comes out, I might buy it because I just want to I'm watching other interviews and stuff about him, but I just want to see what happens, you know.
Yeah, I think he has a crazy story, like where he was with drugs, for 10 years was crazy, and a lot of people go through that, and then for him to make it out and obviously be successful and well known is such a cool story, and I think. I think their story is really cool too. Taking like what they do is just hilarious, right? They literally obviously. To most people, it just seems like they smoke and drink all day and, do stupid shit, but obviously they're really smart.
Which they do.
Yeah, but it's funny. But, so I guess, with the future of Nelk, so there's TV shows, there's pros and cons with that. I think they'll maybe be producing their own TV show down the line.
Yeah.
And try to get some network to back it up. That's what I would guess they'd be doing. And then,
I hope so. I hope so for sure.
But what else, their full Sen brand is such a crazy... Do you think they're just going to keep doing clothing, or do you think they're going to branch out to other stuff?
What I think is going to happen, to be honest, I think they're going to keep doing, you also have to remember that Full Send is not only... It's not just a clothing brand. I mean, their last drop had a fucking hatchet, dude. You could buy a full send hatchet, bro.
That's actually okay. Like, we have to talk about that because that's kind of like Supreme-ish, Like, why the fuck would you buy a hatchet unless you're
That's what I'm saying. I really hope that they're becoming the next Supreme.
Yeah, I think you're onto something with that.
One of their most popular things is a flag.
Yeah, flag
they sell
for $40.
Backpacks. They sell a beer pong table.
Funnel.
They sell a lot of stuff.
They have a lighter for $100. That has full cinema. That shit's pretty sick.
$100 lighter, bro.
Oh wait, they have paper. Wait, they have paper.
They have paper?
Wow. Okay, that's pretty sick. Like, I think they have rolls for like weed.
Oh,
interesting.
Yeah,
wow. Okay, they're really going. But
like my point being is they're becoming more than a clothing brand. They're becoming a full-on lifestyle, and so I want to see when they start becoming like like how Ignite is a brand. It's not just like a CBD hemp company or whatever. It's a brand. I want to see them become the next brand, start sponsoring athletes. I want to see professional like NFL, NBA. Sorry, there's a fighter jet flying by. Oh, hi. I live right next to a Marine base. Sorry. No, so I want to see them start like sponsoring like professional athletes in the NBA, MLB, NFL. I want to see like, especially the NHL. I think that'll be a big market because they already are since from Canada. Oh yeah. Hockey is a big part of like their lifestyle, so I wouldn't be surprised if I think they even said that they're starting to make headway.
Yeah, they were saying something about hockey. You're right. Yeah.
Yeah, they were like starting to like, I think they were gonna like sponsor a team or something.
Maybe.
Something along those lines, but I want to see them start sponsoring athletes and people and stuff.
Yeah, it's hard with like the whole alcohol and drug connotation with sponsoring. That's gonna be where it's kind of hard, but.
I want to see and this is something I want to dive into in another episode, but I want to see them become like the next like Manscaped or whatever, or the next Bang Energy where they or not the next Bang Energy, but they're gonna have the same marketing scheme where they make like a women's line or something, and then they go and give a bunch of like Instagram models like post us on your story and then tag us, and then we'll give you X amount of money. You know, I want to start seeing that happen. You know, and that'll actually be easier for them because they're already connected with so many people in LA.
Yeah, and it looks like they have some girls merch too, so that's good. So girls are interested in their brand in general too.
I want to see. Are they sold out?
Yep. So they have a ladies crop hoodie and a ladies crop tee. So that's just like the T-shirt with like they could see their belly button, kind of a half.
That's usually what it goes for. Like, so for a little bit, this is aside from the bikini thing, I was going to start a small clothing branch for my film industry, for my film business, and I was gonna do cropped hoodies and crop tops for girls because I know a lot of girls, especially our age, love that stuff. So
especially
it's the market
age,
you want.
Yeah, exactly.
It's the market you want to tackle.
Yeah, exactly. So kind of. You want to wrap it up, or do you want to keep talking about stuff?
I just wanted to say that I really hope that they start tackling those ends and spots. I think that's going to be the next step for them.
Yeah, I think they have so much potential. They're on a momentum train right now. They have their quality's just going up. They're making basically almost TV quality produced videos now.
Oh yeah,
especially in the
their editor is probably one of their best moves just because his stuff is.
Yeah, the filmmaker and the editor. Yeah, like maybe even 6 months from now they're going to have such good high quality stuff. Their brand they're going to be making more moves. They're going to be expanding out their full scent brand. I think they have absolutely so much potential, and I think they're going to keep growing. And people are just going to keep knowing them over time. So I think they're in a very good place right now. I think they just need to keep doing what they're doing and not obviously screw up anything. But yeah, they're in a really good place right now. I think. Opening some kind of website, for their videos, for maybe one day they won't even post on YouTube. I know YouTube is important to get traffic, but eventually maybe they're so big that they have their own site and they can just post whatever videos they want. They do that, but maybe some kind of like subscription-based site would I think might maybe a good play if the clothing stuff dies out. But they're doing such a good job. Good job on Kyle, Jesse, Celine, Steve, everyone. Everyone's doing great. So all the editors, team behind that, but yeah,
they're definitely moving in the right direction. I think that's gonna hopefully be somewhat of a similar path for us.
Exactly.
I think once we start getting a little more traction, it'll be good.
Yeah, they're doing a great job. But yeah, so guys, thanks for watching this episode. If you have any pointers in the comments, if you want to say anything about full send or
subscribe.
Subscribe. Turn on post notifications. We're going to be doing a whole bunch of more episodes like this or analyzing channels. We're all about business entrepreneurship. We dropped out of college, so you don't have to. And see you guys in the next episode. This has been Cameron Wagner and
Great Bam. Peace.
And we'll see you guys in the next one.